I think it's my job to be a little skeptical and a little cynical. People are always pumping sunshine, PR people and bosses, and I'm going to be a little cynical. Maybe it's not a good quality, but I am. I push back. I make mistakes, but I'm never stubborn. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I didn't like Matt Eberflus being hired. A defensive coach, once again by the Chicago Bears, who have a history of leaning heavily into defense as the league is changing, with a young quarterback and a bad offensive line. And their first 2 draft picks were a cornerback and a safety, and I didn't like it. But I have never seen Bill Belichick completely, utterly outcoached for 3 hours and 45 minutes. All phases, all night. Never seen that. I've seen Belichick lose. I've seen Belichick get blown out. I have never seen Belichick get on like that. Belichick, 70% of Bill's wins. You remember the Super Bowls. You remember the AFC Championship. 70% of his wins are over new staffs, young quarterbacks. He makes them play left-handed, and the games aren't competitive. Eberflus did that to Belichick last night. And that was ugly. Now, it helps that New England doesn't draft or acquire offensive talent very well. And as the league pivots to an offensive league, the Patriots have looked, to say the least, clunky. My only question last night after that game was, okay, the Bears had a few extra days because they played on Thursday. Is this the new standard? Is this the team that'll go play Dallas? Because every week, the Bears, it feels like to me, are a little better. Is this now the ceiling or the standard? Because, and you see this, sometimes it's just a magical night. It's very possible, extra prep time with a young quarterback, young O-line, it was a magical night. You see it in college football all the time. You see a 15-point, 20-point underdog win. It's a good matchup. They get a couple breaks early. The other team can't get their quarterback right. It could have just been a magical night. That's entirely possible. But it feels like to me when you're a rebuilding team, like let's say the Jets, there are certain boxes you want to check, right? The quarterback, the left tackle, the edge rusher, the Jets got the GM right. Joe Douglas has had back-to-back great drafts. I don't know if the coach and the quarterback are right. Who knows? But the Jets have checked a box. Joe Douglas, GM, check. New York Giants are rebuilding. We don't know about the new GM. We'll have to see, the draft picks. But Brian Daboll, the coach, check. The Giants have checked the coach box. They got that right. Denver, not so sure. And I look at the Bears right now, and I still don't like offensive line. They don't have enough weapons, but they got the corner, they got the safety, and I think we can check the coach. This looks like a fundamentally really well-coached team. And I got to tell you something. Last night, Justin Fields, 13 of 21, 179 yards, 85 passer rating. It is possible that's what he is. A very athletic kid that runs out of the pocket too soon, but can deliver strikes, can get it downfield. I don't know what he is. He doesn't look terribly comfortable in the pocket on a regular basis. But even with him as a defensive coach, Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, I like the game they call. I mean, think about this. Even with that offensive line and limited weapons, they had 24 first downs. They had the ball for 37 minutes and averaged 6 yards a pass. So the defensive-leaning organization and defensive head coach, that's pretty good with that offensive line. They even figured that out. But the Bears roster is pretty talent thin on the offensive side. But, and I say this all the time, if you hire a coach, can he get his side of the ball right? That Bears defense is playing above itself. I don't think they're that talented. I mean, they got a rookie corner, rookie safety. These guys are playing like Pro Bowlers. So he has figured that defense out. That is a great sign. McVay figured out the offense in L.A. immediately. McDermott defense in Buffalo very quickly. And the second thing is Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator. I said this 3 weeks ago. I said it a week ago. He's really clever. Maybe that's part of Green Bay's problems. He left the Packers. He went to the Bears. I think he's clever. I like what he does. Some of it's smoke and mirrors with that offensive line, but sometimes you got to use smoke and mirrors in life to get by. But I think in this league, getting the coach right in a rebuilding setting is at least 30% of the equation. It may be 50% of the equation. And if you don't have the right quarterback, it could be 60 to 70% of the equation. But it looks like the Bears hit one out of the park. And I was a cynic, and I doubted it, but I'm not stubborn. This is a well-coached football team, and that is cool. And the Jets got the right GM. The Giants have the right coach, and that is cool. All right, let's talk New England. Whatever that was. Whatever that was. So year one post-Tom Brady was Cam Newton. It was a noble effort, but it didn't do much. Year two without Tom Brady, it was Mac Jones. Well, I got to the playoffs. Year three is the first year, no Brady, no Josh McDaniels. It ain't great. It's not good. They don't know what they're doing on offense. And here's the thing. Even goats, Belichick's a goat. Even goats have holes. Michael Jordan could very often be hard to play with and revert back to being a ball hog. And then he got Phil Jackson. Pulled him back a little. Play well with others. As great as Brady is, he always needed a good offensive line. By the way, you want to know the problems in Tampa right now? They lost their Pro Bowl center and both guards. They brought in Shaq Mason, but they can't run the football. And Tom can't move. That's a big part of it. Tom always had good O-lines. He didn't always have a great defense in New England. He didn't always have star receivers. Always had a good line. Always. Right now, he didn't have one. Belichick, what's his hole? He's a defensive coach, and he's a 70-year-old defensive coach. And he doesn't have a great feel for how to, I mean, come on. Just play Bailey Zappe. If he stinks, make the move at half. But you literally start him after a pick, you bail on him? That's not how you do it. Mac Jones, the crowd is chanting for Bailey Zappe. You should have played him from the start. And then if Bailey Zappe stinks, you play Mac Jones. But you put Mac Jones in when Bailey Zappe's on a 2-game winning streak and tearing it up, and the crowd's rooting for Mac Jones, and Mac Jones hears it. And then Mac Jones throws a pick. You pull him. Zappe has a good series or two. The crowd's going nuts. Mac Jones is sitting there in a stadium that nobody wants him on the team. It's not how you handle it. All I know is this is the first year without Brady and Josh McDaniels, and this offense, that last night was bad. And it was what Belichick had done to others for years. So, I like Bailey Zappe. Mac Jones is fine. But neither of these guys now has a great wide receiver or tight end group. The offensive line is okay, not special. I like the running backs, but you're in a division with Josh Allen twice a year. And now Mike McDaniel. For 2 decades, New England won a lot of games. They were boring, but they won a lot of games. Now they're average and boring. Robert Kraft did not become a billionaire sitting idly by. This is a boring team, and on a fairly regular occurrence, not necessarily a good team. Considering the game was in Foxborough, there's Bailey Zappe signs everywhere. He played great back-to-back weeks. You just keep going with the kid. If you want to play Mac Jones, play him at half. If you lead 28-0, you can. If you trail 28-0, you could. But it just wasn't handled well. And the perception is now Mac Jones feels like a beaten-down kid who needs all the support he can get from the coach because he certainly doesn't get it from his wide receivers and his tight end. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.